All right, hi everyone. We're here with students from NC State and other North Carolina universities to talk about life in consulting at Perficient. My name is Jennifer Stewart. I'm a campus recruiter. I have been doing this for over 10 years and been with Perficient for about a year and a half now. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Scott, one of my fellow recruiters.
Hi guys, thank you for joining this evening. I really appreciate it. My name is Scott. I am both a campus recruiter as well as a talent acquisition specialist. What that is that I'm just a corporate recruiter. I am actually, you probably all got the chance to meet me at the NC State Career Fair. And just going to tell you a little bit about me. I have been in recruiting for over 10 years in several different roles. But here at Perficient, I was able to start as a corporate recruiter, and with the interest in getting into campus recruiting, I reached my manager and told them how interested I was in that, and they gave me the opportunity to really explore that, and so I paved my own path into that direction. So that is where I'm currently at right at the moment. I'm going to introduce somebody that we hired this past year, who's a student that actually came from University of Buffalo here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Vinay, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself and then pass it over to the students. We would appreciate it.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Vinay Amrit. I'm a technical consultant here with Perficient. My role so far has been of a Java developer. So, yeah, I was hired about 6 months ago, and since then I've been with Perficient. It's been a good experience, and before that I was pursuing masters just like you guys, so it's not very far from you. I can relate to you much more easily because I was on the other side, not too far back in past. All I could say is, working as a consultant is good in a way that you're working for, you're not tied up to a technology you get early in the career. If you're working as a consultant, it's very good because you get a variety of, as soon as the project change yourself, technologies change, which wouldn't happen unless you're a consultant. So that's a good positive to be working as a consultant. So yeah, that's what I do so far, and that's my introduction. Pass on to Devin. That's on the leftmost of my screen, so I'll start from there. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. So my name is Devin Worley. I'm a computer and electrical engineer at NC State, and I'm graduating this December 2014 with that dual degree. Was there anything else that you, I know that those are the three things that you had pointed out in the introduction. Is there anything else that you would want in the introduction?
I'm going to add, actually, if you wouldn't mind, Devin, telling me what made you choose your degree.
Okay, that's a great question. So in high school, I had to do a project in which we had to scout colleges and potential degrees. So I had just looked into what mixed in a lot of math and mixed in a lot of, I like to dig into projects and just learn how things work. So I found that computer engineering involved a lot of discovering how things worked, and involved math as well, another one of my favorite things. So it just kind of fell into place.
All right, fantastic. Why don't we move then over to our duo over here. We have Prudy on the left. So Prudy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone. So I'm studying Master of Engineering Management at Duke University, and I'll be graduating in May 2015. And the reason I chose Master of Engineering Management was because previously I was a computer science engineer, and I was working for a year and a half. I was in the consulting practice, and I have got exposed to a lot of technical skills, but there were times when I had lacked those management skills, which I could be able to bring out to the client for providing them solutions. So that is why I chose this degree, which is basically polishing me as a engineering manager.
Thank you. Murali?
Hey guys, I'm Murali. I'm also pursuing my master's in engineering management here at Duke. I was a mobile app developer. I'm a computer science engineer. I worked as a developer for more than 2 years. Then I got more exposed to the enterprise mobility side of things, which gave me a smattering knowledge of about business side of things, which really prompted me to pursue my education in learning the business side of things. So that's the reason I chose this particular program. Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you. Nikhil?
Hi everyone, this is Nikhil. I'm currently pursuing my master's in computer science at NC State University. I'll be graduating in December 2015. That would be next year. The reason for pursuing master's in computer science is I wanted to gain more knowledge in the core areas of computer science like algorithms and operating systems, etc. That's why I started here. That's it for my introduction.
Okay, that should be everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, okay? Please let me know when you can see it. I will then start my presentation. Is it showing yet?
I don't see anything.
Let me know. It's actually saying that it's starting here.
It is.
Yes, I'm able to.
It is showing? All right, fantastic. So, yeah, just guys, I want to give you an overview here of Perficient and giving you guys a little bit more insight on our organization. First, what you'll see here is Perficient is a leading technology management consulting firm, which we serve majority of the Fortune 500 clients in the United States.
Scott, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you go full screen with your slides? Or to a slideshow?
Can you guys see it? Is that working? Hello?
It shows your screen, but it's not full screen still.
It's not full screen yet.
It's full screen on mine, so I apologize if you can. You guys,
Maybe there's a lag. That's why it's lagging. It might come up in a couple of seconds.
All right. As long as you guys are getting the flip screen, I'm fine. I want to just keep moving through this for you. But do you guys? Can you guys see the screen where the lady, nice, with our mission statement and our vision on that?
No.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, we're going to go this way. All right, guys. Our vision is to become one of the world's largest leading consulting firms. As a consulting firm, that is obviously a lofty goal and something that we are working to strive for. As you'll see in our mission statement, we are tackling our business in several different avenues and different ways of growth. First, I want to highlight a few things on this next slide. It shows our rapid growth that we had from when we started in the late 90s. First, we grew two ways. One, organically, and that was where we were going to work with several different clients. We were doing the land and expand approach, where you get into an organization and you really, based on the production and what you deliver to a client, we were able to expand and add more business. The other way has been acquisition. We had set out for a goal to reach $500 million. I'm really excited to say we're just at that number right today. We've expanded as an organization. You'll only see one year in which we've actually seen a decrease, and that was because of the financial crisis, which always is 1 year in lag when it's in consulting. Okay, so what we had in 2008 as far as the financial crisis here in the United States, 2009 it was the effect of that. that particular issue. So as you'll see, there's always been a progression as far as growth is concerned, and this year we've actually grown quite rapidly. We are a publicly traded company. We are on NASDAQ as the PRFT symbol. In order to be a successful business, you have to have, well, you have to have expansion as far as the type of locations. We have over 20 locations in the United States. As you'll see by this graph here, guys, there's several of our locations are on the East Coast or in the Northeast. The Northwest is not really covered, but we are working towards expanding out on the West. We've opened up a few offices, one in Irvine. I know that. We have offices in Europe, India, and in China as far as delivery centers. Those are where some of those delivery centers are located. You can see the picture here. We try and stay pretty hip and cool as far as our offices are concerned. Each one has a very different kind of feel and to it. What I want to mention here, as you guys would notice when you came to our booth at the NC State Career Fair, is that we have partnerships, and we're partnered with several leading technology organizations. One, I mentioned that 52% of our delivery has been in the IBM product, and that is mentioned here as being a premier business partner of IBM's. We are also Microsoft's Partner of the Year in 2013. And Oracle, we are a premium partner of theirs. We're partnered with TIBCO, EMC, and I also mentioned that Google as a highlight here too, because Google has actually given us quite a bit of business. We were highlighted, which will be shown in a later slide, as one of their partners. Moving on, several industries we do business with, and I just mentioned this for you to really kind of understand the landscape, the type of business that we might do. Here in the Charlotte area, we do a lot of business in retail and in financial services and in healthcare. We have business in automotive here as well. Other offices throughout the United States cover different areas. As you'll notice by some of the name brands here, these are Fortune 500 companies. I mean, these are the biggest companies in the, some of them in the world. And so we are proud to have relationships with a number of them, and it continues to grow and expand beyond this. Our work, as I mentioned in a previous slide, is that we actually are doing quite a bit as far as those partnerships. We've been recognized as a 2013 Partner of the Year with Microsoft. In 2014, it's actually the same. We've been recognized as a highlighted partner for Google, and in 2014, IBM gave us what they call the Innovation Pure and Simple Outstanding Collaboration Award, which is in reference to exactly what I said. What Microsoft is, it's like their Partner of the Year. Just another way of saying it. It's all great to show these slides and be really proud of what we do and what we've been able to deliver. But if we just do that all day long, it's going to be it does have its challenges because you want to be able to have the right kind of culture, and I'm going to get into that here in a moment. But we have over 2,200 colleagues in our organization. Within that organization, guys, we've been listed in some of the top publications in the United States as being one of the best offices to work in the United States, or in different particular areas. And these are some of the areas that we were actually listed as being a top office workplace. Denver Post, Star Tribune, St. Louis Post Dispatch. We are headquartered there in St. Louis, just so you know that, if anyone was wondering where our headquarters are. A lot of people ask the question, what are you looking for? What will make me a good fit for this? And the best answer that I could give to someone is that it's what this is listed right here. Passion, drive, motivation, aptitude, teamwork. You guys can see this, entrepreneurial spirit and love. The components here are intangible type of characteristics that we're always looking for in the right person, because we can train you if you have these skills. There's one that I would like to add to this that I think this almost trumps a lot of it, is problem solver. I think a good consultant needs to be able to be a great problem solver, and they need to understand how to fix a problem and not be bashful and not shy away from trying to handle a problem and fixing that. So yeah, that's it. Now I know that we have some on this call here tonight about looking for internships, and they asked the question at the career fair, do we offer internships? And the answer to that is yes. Actually, several different business units offer it, and in Charlotte we are actually looking to add a few interns for this summer. So let me highlight some of those things for you. First, this is actually a quote that we had from Michael, who was an intern, now is an associate consultant for us, working full-time. But they wrote 2 months at Perficient in an internship that they learned more technical skills than they did the full semester of classes. I can speak to the experiences that some of the other technical consultants have had within our internship program here in Charlotte. Vinay actually has worked with a few of them, and they get real-world consulting experience. They are thrown in, into I wouldn't say the ring of fire here, but they get thrown into a problem, and they need to help figure out the solution with a team. And it gives them it gives us the opportunity to see how they do in those types of situations, and it gives them the opportunity to really see if this is what they're looking to do. We are not looking for interns to be making phone calls and pushing paper. That's not the type of internships that we are looking to fill. Okay, so here actually Melanie happened to be a student this past summer who I brought on to be a part of our local Charlotte team. And this is her quote. I'll let you guys read it. It mentions and highlights her experience working with one of the managers, Michael Periscan, and it really highlights her interest in working for Perficient after having the experience of working with Michael. The mentoringship, we have what's called a Great Start Guide. This is a new program that is really, well, let me backtrack. This is a program that's been really going on for a number of years, actually, but it has really been a new enterprise-wide, full-blown program that we're now rolled out, and it's been a success. What it is it's a 12-week mentorship with an individual. When you come on board with us, you are taken under the wing of one of these mentors, and they will meet with you weekly. They will work with you on your current assignment. They will help guide you through the process, which is one of the most difficult processes right when you start. So they really make you feel comfortable and feel confident in your abilities, and it has been a great success thus far. Individuals, these are two facts that I think are really worth highlighting. Our summer interns in our Microsoft practice, I should clarify, is Microsoft practice, the internships, all of those interns graduated with an offer walking away from their internship. I wanted to let that stew for a minute there, Brew, I guess. that is a great feat. And then the other thing is that on the Microsoft National Business Unit, all of the people who had started in 2013 have already been promoted. So we have a very fast progression in career within Perficient. We give opportunities to really grow your career with us. And I want to highlight that in my next slide, actually, but with the story of Andrew. Andrew actually went to school at Indiana University back in June of 2011. He was an intern with us. After his internship, he was offered a full-time position, which he then accepted. He started with us in 2012, June, in our Chicago office as an associate technical consultant. He worked during that year 2 projects, 6 months each. After those 2 projects were completed, in June of 2014, Andrew was promoted. He became a senior business consultant. So he went from associate to business consultant to senior business consultant, and he moved his way through advancement. And right now, honest and truthfully, the sky's the limit for Andrew. He's really a rising star within our organization. So it's a lot of work up to this point. Now it's about, what is the culture like? What's the environment like? What's the fun working at Perficient, right? So I want to just take a quick moment and point out a few things in this slide. First of all, you'll see we are very involved in the community. Communities of where we're located, as you'll see on this this slide, there's a few that are mentioned. In Atlanta, they have socials every Thursday nights in their office. You see people wearing shorts and flip-flops. That is the day-to-day working environment in that office. It is I would say a Microsoft feel. It's actually where our Microsoft practice has a big office and presence and headquartered there. Taste of Chicago, we do here in Charlotte, the men's shelter. We have golf tournaments, and we have we do 5K walks, and we adopt the highway. We have several different things that we bring our people together to feel like they're part of the community of Perficient. The culture is equally important to us because you are working 9 to 5 on a client site. It's important that you come and you feel like you also belong to an organization that's not just giving you a paycheck and has a name on the paycheck, but also makes you feel like you belong to that company. And we do quite a bit in that. We actually in Charlotte have a a culture committee that focuses on lunch and learns and getting people together for group events, and we have our Christmas parties. We get people to help plan that. It's very everybody has a voice. So what are we looking for? These are what we've been hiring. This currently we're looking for the technical interns, the associate business consultant, and the associate technical consultants. Does anybody have any questions? You're on mute if you do.
How about if I start you guys off with a question? Well, a question for Vinay. Why don't you tell them why you think consulting is a good career choice for someone who's coming right out of school?
Well, I did that as part of my introduction, but I can say that again. The only major reason here is, with consulting you get you switch between projects, and with the type of work Perficient, or with the type of projects that Perficient undertakes, are not very long term. It's mobile app development, cloud infrastructure, and all those things. And what happened when you work with those kind of project is, due to short terms of this project, you hop on between projects, and with each of the project you get exposed to different type of, not only different domain of client that the client belongs to. Like you might be in a financial project in one, it might be a financial client, the other one might be retail. That gives you a lot of exposure, and all of them, even though they are doing the same thing, but to some extent their set of technology stack that differs. So it gives you a tremendous opportunity to learn all of those. So that's where I feel consulting is a big positive and early on in the career for sure. Back to you, Jennifer.
Great. Do any of you have any questions to begin?
Hey, Vinay, I have a quick question to ask you. Being a technical consultant, you must have some kind of exposure to the business side of things as well, right? How would you
Yeah.
segment your everyday work between technology and business?
Okay, to start with, I know that Nikhil here is a computer science major. I'm not sure what Devin mentioned, I missed that. But I myself come from industrial engineering and management background from my undergrad school. And with my past work experience and even the current one thing I can say for sure, if the developers or the management, both have, if the developers have some management understanding, if they're able to relate the technical requirements or their skills, map them to the business requirements, or for the managers, if they have a little bit of technical understanding, it helps a lot on a project.
Okay.
If you have that sort of a team. So I do know that there is a computer science media. I do not want to offend them when I say that, but yeah, when I first heard the word engineering management, that was the first thing that struck in my mind. It's a big positive to have someone who has understanding of business as well as technical understanding. It's just that it helps you communicate better and map the requirements better in terms of technology and vice versa. So
Thanks a lot, Vinay. I think that helped both Shruti and me.
yeah, this doesn't mean that computer science is of any
Of
less
course not.
value. It's definitely uh,
Yeah,
so.
both of us are computer engineers anyway, so if you're gonna offend Nikhil, you're gonna offend us too.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, I have one question. So Scott spoke about Andrew who shifted from being a technical consultant to a senior business consultant. Is that the career path that is followed in Proficient, or is the career path is there internal mobility between being a technical consultant and then becoming a business consultant?
Yeah, so actually, good question. The thing is that you have the capability of going from one path to the other if that's something that you so choose with your career. However, it is common that if you're taking the career path, that what will happen is, let's just say you'll start as a technical consultant, then you would move to senior technical consultant, to lead technical consultant, then you might become a project manager, senior project manager, and then it goes solutions architect, senior solutions architect, director. That's the full line. I've just literally ran through the whole process for us guys, but that right there gives you like a little bit of understanding of one step goes to the next and how it can lead to the lead you down. Now if you went from the business, just instead of saying technical consultant, you say business consultant and then fill in from there. Okay.
All right, so I've got a question. Sorry if I hope I didn't interrupt. So I know that you talked a lot. You said something around 2,200 colleagues, and you talked about having the top culture. My question would be, do you have like, I know you said that you have community projects and you do a lot of stuff as a team. How often? Do you have like weekly team meetings, or what does that team interaction look like?
It's a good question too, Devin. Each team manager happens to run their teams a little differently. Sometimes they'll meet on a quarterly basis. Sometimes they'll meet on a weekly basis. The thing is that there are several different things. What we were talking about before was culture, right? So that's not necessarily the team itself meeting for team meetings. That's like, hey, we're going to the water center, down here in Charlotte, and we're gonna listen to music and have bring the dogs and the family and all that stuff. That's like part of the community involvement that we're trying to continue to build. That happens quite regularly and as frequently as weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. It's always got something. Like we're tailgating at football games and we go to baseball games here. So that stuff happens quite regularly, and and then we have, on top of that, once a month we'll have a lunch and learn in the office, where it's open to the full team, whoever can make it. We do quarterly call meetings where we'll all get together as the office and get to go over our financials and go over where we are today and what's the projects that was going on, just highlighting project involvement. we have quite a bit of different, those meetings really do vary, but as far as how involved you can get, it's really up to you. The more involved you are, the more sustainability you will have, to be perfectly honest with you, because people will know you and know that you're interested in wanting to continue to progress your career with Perficient.
All right, yeah, that answered it perfectly. If you don't mind, I have a small follow-up question. And I might already have the answer, but what's the team size look like, or does it just vary by project?
Vinay, why don't you speak to how many people are on your current team? And then I can talk a little bit about what we typically see on different teams.
Okay. We have a very small team actually. We are like 3 or 4 developers, a business analyst to support us, and then the management team is always there. So for my project, the delivery manager and the project manager, all of them are on site. So altogether, management and the technical team combined, it's like 7 or 8%, not more than that. But I would just add to it, the smaller the team is, I mean, when I say small, it doesn't mean that you make it 2 or 3 people, but comparatively with the tasks that you have and the amount of time, the smaller the team is, the better the outcome is. It doesn't always help that you have more number of people on your team, because the more number of people you have, more number of channels for communication, and more the number of channels of communication, more the communication loss. So each is the best practice in the industry. So over to you,
That's a very
Scott.
good point. No, that's a very good point, Vinay, and Devin. Going back to your question as far as team sizes, that there is such a variety. I have been on teams where I literally started the team at 2 people, like the project in which Vinay is on, and it then built up to 18, 20 people in a matter of 3 months. And I've worked on projects where right from the start we had to get 25 people. I've had, very rarely will we get much more than those kind of numbers, because we're not our size as an organization, just we don't have the manpower. We would like to eventually, but it's not that we don't have those types of projects in the queue right now. But to Vinay's point, the smaller the size of the group, then the better opportunity you have then to have more of an impact as well. I know that we've been receiving several questions here in the Q&A, and so I'll pass it over to Jennifer to take that.
Let's see.
So I have one question actually.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead.
Hi Vinay, as you pointed out that you roll out projects pretty quickly, do you use any methodologies to like Agile or Scrum kind of thing?
Yeah, we do use Agile Scrum on the current one. I mean, it's my first project in Perficient, so I do not have much insight into what other projects are like, but most of them are like Microsoft Practice or Agile. So that's all I can say about that. Yeah.
So typically, how many days do we deliver a project in? I mean,
we use a 2-week sprint cycle.
Okay.
And delivering of features, it depends on when how the client side performs. How often do they release the project, the feature. So it's if the client is not willing to do it every 2 weeks, it doesn't really matter. It just goes into the QA cycle. It stays in the QA cycle for longer than it would, and that gives us time for regressive testing it. That's positive to it.
Thanks, Vin.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna read some questions from the Q&A. Let's see, maybe Scott or Vinay, either of you might be able to answer this. It says, "Hi everyone, could you elaborate a little more on the internship program from a computer science perspective? What technologies would interns be working with?"
I can take that, since what we're currently working on. So as far as the current internship opportunities that we have, we're looking at two things. The main technologies, there's the Java, and then the Android or iOS, the mobile development. It will actually be working here in Charlotte, and as far as other technologies that we would like, if we find the Hibernate or Struts or Spring, those are things that are also beneficial to have exposure to. Web services. Those are just a few of the technologies that I typically look for in the internship.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read two questions that relate. Here's one. My question is, I have a background in consulting, mostly healthcare industry, but I'm open to explore other sectors. How does Perficient assign its projects to employees? Is there a rotational program? And then this other question is, you mentioned hopping on to projects. How are you assigned to project? How much control do you have over the assignment?
Okay. Let me try and make sure I answer these questions here, Jennifer, okay? Let's do that one right there, the hopping on. So as far as hopping onto a project and how you are assigned to that project, there's a few different variables. Let's just say you want to stay local, you're a part of a local business practice. Now let me explain how this is structured. We have both national practices and local practices. And let's just use Charlotte as an example, because that's probably one of the closest office for those that live up in the Raleigh area. They have a national practice and local practice in Charlotte. So if you're a part of that local practice, how we're going to identify an opportunity for you is to try and utilize your skill set and match it with the type of role that we have. And we have a system that we use internally to determine what projects are currently needing to be staffed, and we try and take your skills or your background and put you on that project prior to you even getting started. We want to continue to keep you proactive. If your project is coming to an end, we want to be able to keep you engaged on a project. So we're going to try and engage you on projects, 6 weeks, 8 weeks before you're completing your project. Vinay is currently on a project, and his project is ending right now. So we are actively pursuing opportunities right now for Vinay, and they could be local, and sometimes they could be traveling. So we always ask that people be open to travel, even if you're part of the local practice, because we want to keep you. Well, first of all, we want to keep you engaged for several reasons, but as you continue to build your career with Perficient, it gives you more experience and exposure to different industries and technologies if you're more open to travel. So even if you're a local practice, you might be traveling up to about 50% of the time throughout the year. Does that answer the question there, Jennifer? Was that clear? Okay, and if not, please follow up. You're on mute. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Another part of it was, how much control do you have over your assignment?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. Let's say Vinay says, "Hey, I can't travel. I've got kids, or whatever it is." That is, you have absolutely. We are a work-life balance, and we give I believe we have one of the better cultures, like I mentioned to you guys earlier in my presentation. You do have a say. You absolutely have a say in where you go and where. Now, we would like to obviously stress the fact that keeping you engaged is the #1 importance in our eyes, because if you're on the bench, which means you're not working, not billing to a client, then you're not going to be you're going to be underutilized. So we want to keep you utilized, and the best way to do that is really to focus on opportunities that are either local or traveling, and but you do have an opportunity to say, no, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this, or can we look for opportunities in the healthcare space? And if we can, then we're going to find them. That will be our first preference. So yes, definitely have a say there.
Okay, I have another question here.
Sure.
How flexible is Perficient if someone wants to work in a different team after 2 to 3 years?
I can tell you several stories since my time here with Perficient. I can use for even my own team. An individual who was in recruiting and she got into testing. She was now a tester in our quality center, testing center in Detroit, Michigan. She moved from California to Detroit to be a part of that team. She didn't have to, but she chose to. We are very flexible. If I had the interest, my colleague who used to, used to be a recruiter, wanted to get into marketing, and he paved his path into marketing. We love hybrids, and we love those people who are willing to be flexible and see opportunities where they want to take their career, and we want to guide them and really encourage that career growth within the organization versus them leaving the company and going to work for some competitor doing what they've been looking to do.
Well, then I'll add this to that one. Apart from day-to-day responsibility, does Perficient provide other opportunities to learn new skills?
Yes, Vinay, I promise you, you're going to take some of these in a minute here. I'll just keep going because these are a lot of the questions that I can answer. Yeah. As far as the day-to-day skills, like training, is that what I'm understanding? Do we offer training? Is it too short?
Okay. What he meant was outside of project work. What you meant was outside of project work. What other technologies can we learn?
All right, I'm going to use from the business perspective because I can speak to from the business just for a moment. But we have business analysts and project managers, a lot of them here in Charlotte, and the individuals who are business analysts coming on board, we actually started a training program for them to get their certification in business analysis. This is the same goes with our folks in the Java world or in the Microsoft practice, I should say Microsoft or IBM practices. If there's a technology that's going to keep you relevant and going to give you an opportunities for some career growth, we're definitely going to listen and consider it. It is a case-by-case situation on the training components or on the certification components, but we are always going to be looking to train individuals, and we use that mentoring, that guide, as a good opportunity for you to be able to lean on others and picking up newer technologies going into different groups. Let's say you are lacking in one technology, but you have a number of the other technologies listed, but the client says, hey, we really want that one technology that you didn't have. What we're going to do is give you some training and developing to give you all the skills you need in order to get up to speed quickly and be able to take on that type of a project. So this happens, and it happens quite regularly within our organization.
Scott and I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
You guys spoke a lot about people being able to understand both the engineering as well as the management side of things. How about client interaction for an associate? Like, how much of client interaction is involved, and do we get to face clients directly, or is it just going to be the upper management that does all the talking to the clients?
I'm going to let Vinay actually answer that because he's actually been on a project and he can speak directly to that.
Yeah, see, I'll take this question in two halves, okay? One, I'll take from where Scott left, like work-life balance. Perficient is one company that gives you a lot of flexibility. I know early on in your career you won't need it, but say later you get married and you have kids, you can stay remote. In that case, you do not have a client-to-client interaction on a daily basis. But for me, I stay on site. I go to the client office daily. Like I said, I've been interacting with this, the chief tech arc from the client side, CIO, COOs. I've been regularly presenting it, and that's how I've got my recognitions and appreciations. And I would just like to mention this here. It's not too far back in past, just about a couple of weeks ago, just that I was highly appreciated, and the statement was that I got to knock the ball. I knocked the ball out of the ballpark. So that early on in my career, as I said, I'm not very old in the company itself. So that gives me a lot of confidence, and that Proficient has given me opportunity, and I'm utilizing it. So you do get an opportunity, in fact. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, Vinay. As a follow-up, I just want to figure out like how is is it hierarchical in there, or is it like flat? Do we get to interact with partners? I mean, do we get to talk to them and learn about what they do, and just to figure out if we are going in the right direction? I know you guys spoke about mentorship, so how high are going to be our mentors, as in like in terms of hierarchy?
Scott, do you want to take that? It's
I'm trying to. I'm having a hard time hearing that question. Can you repeat that? Just summarize it for me again.
Sure. Can you brief us about the mentorship, Scott? I mean, like who are going to be our mentors in case we want to take up that chance? Because you spoke a lot about that, and Vinay spoke a lot about recognition. So I'm just figuring out what is the transparency level inside Perficient.
Sure. As far as the mentors, the mentorship program that we have, which we call the GPS, it's it's going to guide you through your training for the 12 weeks when you get started. That particular individual and how they are assigned. Let's just say, for example, Vinay is your mentor. What we ask Vinay to do is every week to have a touch point with you. Make sure that you are connected. Make sure that you have a good, nice, easy transition to Proficient. Make sure you understand the technologies and the culture of Proficient. Let's say you get on a project, okay, and you're not happy on your project. It happens, so we should at least address it here, right? So let's say you get on that. Well, a good avenue for you to take is to contact Vinay and say, hey, Vinay, I'm really struggling on this project. It's not that you can't go to your manager, because you should, but an added individual prior to even going to your manager might be Vinay to bounce ideas off of and say, Vinay, I'm not really keen on this project. What's your recommendation on how I should address this, or is there things that I can do? What would you do in this situation? It gives you an opportunity and an outlet that is very non-threatening and offers you the opportunity to lean on additional support internally. Does this first answer your question? I want to make sure if am I lingering anything, I don't want to miss anything there.
No, you've covered it right, Scott. Thanks a lot. The second part of my question was with respect to the transparency. I mean, like, can I just walk up to a partner, or is it going to be hard to figure out like the bigger people in the organization? Because I like to get in touch with them and like figure out what they are doing and what's going on in the firm. So, does that make sense?
Sure. Transparency within the partnership, within the different partners within the organization. I'm assuming you're referring to one business unit to another, and sort of what sort of communication and interaction you might have with them. Is that correct? Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
If that's the case, let me explain a couple things. I speak from personal experience on this. This is something in which we have what we call the model of one Perficient. We've grown through acquisition over the last few years. There has been some growing pains when you do that, some acquisition, and that organic growth is really has really helped mend those acquisition growth. Okay, and one thing that I will mention here is the more opportunities that you give yourself to be known by other business units, the better opportunity you have for career advancement and going in direct and having more mobility within your career path with Perficient. So yes and yes, the people within the organization know other people. I will tell you right now, there's an individual who hired Vinay actually, who is now a part of the IBM practice, and no matter where he is and what practice he's at, I will go to him for all my suggested advice or needing some information, because he's made himself known to me. And so I definitely suggest that, and that's given you an opportunity, especially if you're traveling and working with different business units, because we always bleed different business units. Our IBM practice might be working with a local practice in Atlanta, and might be also having a touch of our Oracle practice, and all of those practices together are on one project together. So you do have the ability to interact with other individuals in different groups.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
No
Scott.
problem.
That answers my question.
Okay. I know that we're getting a lot of other email or questions in here, Jennifer. Is there, before we
Yep.
jump over, is
Yeah,
anyone else have? Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. For a business consultant position, do you look for any specific technical background?
Yes, I believe from the business perspective, it's not necessarily a technical background like you need a code. I want to clarify that that would not be what we're looking for from a technical or from a business perspective. What we're looking for is an individual who understands technology, who can work within technology, and depending on what your role is in there. If you're a business consultant being in the analytics practice, it's going to be different than if you're a business analyst. A business analyst commonly is working between technology groups and business groups. And so we need that business consultant who can feel comfortable in the room with a technologist who is an architect and a developer, and be able to then articulate that information to the business from the, it could be up to the CFO to the, project manager. So yeah, those are, it's nice to have, it's not required, but it's always nice to have some technical knowledge.
Okay, I'll go to, we have two more in the Q&A, so we'll get these done before we go back. Someone wants to know if we offer internships in data analytics, and if so, what are we looking for in terms of skill set and background?
Okay, so we have a data management practice. This is a national practice, and they are looking generally for experienced hires. In our local practice in Charlotte, I say local, I mean Charlotte, we have a business analytics practice. That business analytics practice, guys, has an internship opportunities. We have just filled one of them already, and it's uncertain if we're going to need a second. So as far as business analytics is concerned, and data analytics, because we work with quantitative statistical modeling, they do dimensional data. There is definitely the data components in there. They work with Access and Excel, as well as Power Pivot and SAS and SPSS and R. Those are some of the technologies that are really ingrained in that group. They are not certain whether or not they're going to be hiring another intern. So I would have to table that just until that's been clarified. But we have filled the first of their needs.
Okay, one for you, Vinay. This was a follow-up to something earlier. What would you say is the difference in approach while dealing with clients in different industries?
Well, it all comes down to how well you are able to relate the project to the real world scenario. Right now, I'm on a project that is from insurance domain. The client provides technology platform for insurance providers. Like you go to a website and select products that you want to enroll in to get you health benefits, right? So just like that. If you're able to relate that particular project, what needs to happen to a real world scenario, that I would do this when I'm a user, so it all becomes very easy to understand and very easy to write the code for. The whole process becomes easy. The core of all these things is how well you understand what needs to happen, non-technical way, and only then you can make it technical. So that's the basis.
Great. Does anyone in here have any questions?
I have one. It's a specific question for Scott. So I'm not sure if you remember, but at the career fair, I was telling you a little bit about, I'm a computer and electrical engineer, so I have the technical background, but also did internship in marketing. From what it sounds like, that sounds like appealing attributes to the company. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have an individual in, I'll just say her, she came from UGA. We just hired her this past semester, so she just started in the fall. It was a marketing major. So yes, absolutely. And we're not married to any specific technology, or I'm sorry, any specific degree in our business, because we do both business consultant and technical consultants, and we fill both their needs. And if you had a theater major, I wouldn't care, because that's what I was when I went to school. So it's really irrelevant in my eyes, except for the level of projects that you had exposure to or internships that you had experience with. Those are the things that are really something I look for when I'm looking at skills and talent.
Okay.
Yeah, that answers. Thank you.
Great. I'm going to run through a couple more from the Q&A. Someone wants to know, how much programming knowledge do you need to have to work in the testing area of the company?
Vinay, would you know this, or would you want me to? I mean, I could talk about that, but
I was going to just give a one-line answer, just basic of programming and mostly business. That's all I was going to say. You can take it forward from there, Scott.
Sure. There are, within our quality center teams, we have actually the one that we have is in Detroit here in the United States. That is there are 4 different verticals within that particular group, and programming in one of them is important. Supporting the programming is another, and that's the one where it's not being a coder, it's just knowing how to code or how to read code. Those are things that would be important from our testing perspective. Can you read the code? Are you comfortable with the code? Not necessarily wanting to code. So that would, I'm hiring individuals currently at this very moment looking for that type of skill set.
Okay. This is a question for you, Vinay. Kind of broad. Maybe you can pick a few. What challenges do you face as a technical consultant?
Really, I do not have. I haven't faced any challenge, I think, so far at least. It's all been pleasant, exciting, and on the positive side of it. So I haven't. The only thing that I would say is, very first project got a lot of responsibilities to take care of at the client interactions. So I wasn't really expecting that it came in as a surprise. Like half an hour before the presentation, I was still that, since I know the project or the code that has gone into the feature better than anyone else, so why don't I do it? So that was the only thing that came in as a surprise, and it ended well. So I wouldn't say that it was a challenge. So, yeah, I don't see any challenge as such, as long as you're positive about what you're doing and you have interest in what you're doing. There's nothing like a challenge as such. You just go on learning and you go on contributing. That's it.
Very positive take on that. I'm going to throw this question out there. You mentioned the company's presence in multiple locations. Do we get an opportunity to collaborate and work on projects from other offices? I know, Scott, you had mentioned this before, and I can just speak about a project that I know my business unit is working on. We have people working from our Pega team. We have people working from an IBM ECM, Enterprise Content Management team. They're kind of working on different parts of the same project. That happens pretty regularly. It just depends on the demands of the actual project. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I think that's right. I mean, we were mentioning just a little while ago, we do all work very closely together, particularly where there is an office where it's a local office, because those local offices will pull in individuals from the national practices all the time. And those local offices already have men on the street looking for, men and women looking for business, and so as they get the business, they're going to be pulling in our, IBM practice, our Oracle practice, our healthcare practice, whatever the practice might be, to assist. And so, yeah, we work a lot with other business units. Okay.
All right, one more, and then we'll be cleared out of the Q&A here. How should one apply for internship positions? Is EPAC an option for NC State students? Typically, when would the intern recruitment process start? And how many interns are you recruiting?
All right. Let's see if I can figure this out. All right. First, EPAC is not the way we are currently advertising our internship, because the internship is very quickly getting full. We are in the process right now of interviewing. We've been actively interviewing for the last month and a half for them. They are summer internships. I am looking for 2 more interns, both technical and business, for Charlotte. However, let's just use an example. If you're not a fit for my internship, there might be a program. I don't believe Jennifer's practice does, but I know my Microsoft practice is looking right now for an intern. So you would get passed over to the Microsoft team, even if you have and you've been experiencing the exposure to it's been all in the IBM. Just a matter of whether or not you're interested in that technology. But we all work together. Jennifer, what was some of those other questions? There was a number of them. Do you remember?
Well,
I don't see them here
yes.
anymore.
When would the intern recruitment process start?
I'm sure the internship. Yeah, we are right at the process right now of doing our technical screens for them. So this is a good starting point, starting tonight. And when I close up tonight, I'll give you guys the instructions as to what you want to do as far as the next steps. And if you're interested in that internship, being considered for an intern, I would want you to send me your resume and kind of a cover, or give me an explanation as to why you'd be interested in Perficient.
Okay. Any of you guys here who are on air have any questions?
We just got another question that came in.
I have a quick question to ask.
Sure.
How about the next steps for us for business, for full-time opportunities and for business consultant role, the associate role? What are the next steps? What are the next steps that we need to take in terms of the process?
Sure. Can you hold off on that question, and I'll make sure to answer that. That's going to be my closing remarks. So that will be covered. I promise you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
This last question that came in, and can you talk about opportunities for Java developers with Perficient?
Okay, why don't I just go ahead and jump into the closing, because I can cover that as well. So first of all, the recruiting process for us, let me just break it down for you. What we did when we met you guys I guess it's been 2 weeks ago, right? We had the opportunity to meet at the career fair, followed that with this Google Hangout. The next step is that I will ask everyone on this call, whoever's listening, whoever is able to be on this video chat, to send me an email. I should have given you guys my business card. If not, it's scott.albert@perficient.com. Send me an email with your interest to working for Perficient, with a copy of your resume. Do not forget to attach a copy of your resume, please. Letting me know why you're interested. Why are you interested in working for us, either internship or full-time? Okay. That process then will take us to a technical screen in a few weeks. Right now, I will tell you, our December hires in Charlotte is very competitive, so we are not looking for many more December graduates to start in December. Our hires will start in the spring. So we are looking, we could find somebody local, somebody who can start in December, who graduates in December, but we may not have an offer for them until February, and they might be in a different practice. That is a totally different thing. I just want you to know, locally in Charlotte, we are closed off on our candidates for the December. We are considering candidates for the spring. After that, we're going to have a 30-minute technical screen that will follow up with this. It will be a phone conversation, which will then turn into an in-person in our office in Charlotte. It will be a half-a-day interview where you will then meet with several individuals on the team. Try to have Vinay a part of that, actually. And then we will complete the process there as far as who we decide we like. And then we're going to give you guys the opportunity, especially if it's a spring offer, to come back in the office and do a shadow day. I'm not sure if you guys know what shadow days are, but we give you the opportunity to come in, really get a taste for our culture, get a taste for who we are. I mean, we say all these things, but how is it really in the office? And so we want to offer those things to you. So we give you that opportunity. And then offers will be made in around the early, mid-March. And we do, here's one other quality about us guys, is that we give our students who are graduating the opportunity to have that one last summer. We love for you to start right away, but we know the stress that it puts on you, like finishing those exams and then going to start to work right away. It's not easy. So what we say is you have the choice to either start in June 1, or start in the fall. That is up to you. Fall of 2015 or June 1. And that gives you the opportunity, again, travel the world, go, visit your parents or do whatever it is that you want to do, but know that you have an offer and a place when you get back. Those are things that we try and offer our students, and we're flexible with. So that gives you the full process. That also should explain a timeline and what we're thinking as far as next steps and offers, and realize this is a journey. This is going to be a marathon and not a sprint here.
Scott, can you brief us a bit about the technical screening?
Sure. As far as the technical screening is concerned, we do ask you to be prepared to answer questions upon the technologies that I mentioned. I know that you're going to be on the focus of mobile, so mobile will be an area in which you will be questioned, and whatever you have listed on your skills that you have listed on your resume are going to be the questions that you're going to be asked. So don't put something that you're an expert in something if you're not really an expert in something. You want to. But Java, likely it's in the IBM stack. So, and somebody like a Vinay will be asking those questions, and probably some of my other teammates.
Okay, thanks a lot, Scott.
No problem. Is there any other questions before I finish this up? Okay. Guys, thank you very much, first of all, for taking the time this evening to meet with myself, Vinay, and Jennifer. I know you guys have really impressed me. I can tell by some of the reactions of my colleagues that you've impressed them as well. With all of those that have listened and wrote in, your interaction has been fabulous, and I can't wait to show this to our management, because I think you guys did a great job. All I ask, as I mentioned, send us your updated resume in a soft copy, a list of what you're interested in. If you're looking for full-time or internship, it would be nice to be told that in the email. Just you're looking for that, and then we'll be back in touch. I will be only in touch, just so you know, because I will be in touch with those that we are interested in pursuing right away. Okay. Those that we're passing on might take us a little time to get right back to you. I just want to let you guys know, be truthful and transparent, okay? If you have any questions, I am here to help and support all of you. And so I also invite you to go to my LinkedIn page and connect with me on LinkedIn, and make sure that we stay connected, okay? Because I do have invested interests in anybody who's interested in Perficient at all, okay?
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Thanks.
And if you're not interested in Perficient, well, I'm sorry to hear that. All right, guys. You guys can all
Have a good
those are
evening.
yeah. Thank you. You can
Thank you
drop
all
off,
for
guys.
making it
Vinay.
here.
Bye bye.
Vinay and Jennifer, can you